Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to Property Insight. I'm Neil Harding, and with me today is Andrew. Andrew, do you want to just introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, I'm Andrew Shaw. I'm a property investor and working with Neil through his mentor program.
Yeah, welcome everybody. So we're going to spend some time today looking at some properties that Andrew and I have seen on Rightmove, which have sparked our interest. There's perhaps a few opportunities here to add value in different ways. And I think as a mentorship session as well, but also for everyone watching, that there's some interesting ways in which value can be added to property. A refurb is clearly one of them, and the one that we're looking at on screen right now is a property in Peterborough, which is where I invest, and I've actually viewed this property. And we'll have a look at this one and a handful of properties, and Andrew and I are going to talk through how we think the value can be increased by forcing the appreciation, whether that be through a refurbishment or through some other means. And I think we're going to get as creative as we possibly can, Andrew, aren't we, and see what we can come up with between us by looking at things like floor plans, layout, and how the property can be improved. And there are all sorts of different ways of doing that. So let's get started. This first one is on the market at £95,000, and it's a 3-bed maisonette, and it's quite cheap. So you're getting a fair amount of square foot here for 95 grand. It's a bank repossession. You can tell that by sometimes a giveaway is there's a red tape that you see covering fuse boxes or toilets. I'm flicking through the photos here, and you can see it's in pretty poor condition. As I say, I viewed it. That's a terrible bath. Cloakroom isn't much better. All the walls are a mess. There's no carpets. There's holes in the wall here that you can see in one of the bedrooms. And think actually, yeah, on this photo you can see it hasn't got a kitchen, and there's a big hole in the ceiling here. And it always makes me laugh when you can see this. There's a plant sort of grow. That's actually a plastic plant growing off the ceiling. It's not a real one, but I don't know why. So there's a bit of a backstory on this property. It was being used as a marijuana farm. The previous occupiers were growing marijuana in the sort of loft space, and that's why there were holes in the ceiling. And the property is a complete state, so it does need a full refurbishment, I would say, from viewing it. And also because there's no kitchen, it's impossible to get a mortgage on a property like this. No buy-to-let lender is going to lend a buy-to-let mortgage product, is what it says on the tin. It needs to be something that is you able to buy it in order to let it. So someone needs to be able to live in it. No one can live in this property without a kitchen. Typically, the tests are you need a kitchen, you need somewhere to cook, you need a bathroom, you need somewhere to clean. They're your sort of standard tests, and it needs to be safe and habitable, and this place is not. So it's pretty cheap at 95,000. The estate agent at the time told me that if fully refurbished, this property they would expect to achieve maybe 160 to 180,000. Personally, I felt that was quite bullish. I would estimate the value based on comparable sold prices at more like 150,000. So for me, I don't think there's enough margin actually in a deal. £95,000, that's actually been reduced a number of times. I think the first price was 15, it came down to 105, and it's now 95,000. I still think it's got some way to go, and it's been on the market for several months. Let's have a look at the floor plan. So I think this is quite interesting for a few reasons, really. So you can see the maisonette. You enter the ground floor. Here's the hall. We go up the stairs, and this is effectively the first floor of what is a 3-story building. The ground floor, which is not part of this property, it is a 1-bed flat on the ground floor, separate property. And on the first floor of the property, we've got a lounge, dining room, and kitchen, and these double doors here from the dining room go out onto a balcony. And then on the second floor, 3 decent sized bedrooms and a bathroom with a separate toilet. So, Andrew, I know you've not viewed this property, and I have. Did you have any initial thoughts when you were looking at the layout and the condition?
I mean, similar to yourself, really. A full refurb is going to be needed. It's always difficult sometimes to see the condition of the property until you go view it in person. Sometimes photos don't necessarily give the full picture, but this one I feel like it does quite give a lot away straight away. I would probably do similar to yourself. I mean, it's going to need a lot of money spending on it. Layout wise, I don't think I would change too much about it. Maybe consideration of bringing the bathroom and the toilet all into one, rather than having them separate. Probably would be one of the changes I would look to make. But as a renovation, I would full renovation, new kitchen. It's going to need floorings, decoration. Obviously, the holes that are in the ceiling are going to need to be resolved. So you're going to need to do plastering as well. So the cost will start to mount up and eat into that margin that you've got between the sale price and the end GDP price as well.
Yeah, agreed. I think the one sort of thought that I had as a passing thought, and I'm not convinced it would be suitable for this property because it is leasehold, and within the lease agreement there will be covenants, and you've got to get permission from freeholder before you start changing things. But my mind did turn to title split. You've got 90 square meters here. If this was a freehold, you've got potential, if you're looking at this and thinking, well, actually, this is a complete refurb. The property is a complete state. You can pretty much bash the internal walls around and knock them down and reconstruct the area however you want it to. If this was a freehold house, you've got, say, roughly 45 square meters on the first floor and on the second, if you've got 90 in total.
Turn into 2 flats.
You could turn that into 2 flats. So if you look at this second floor, you've got 3 decent sized rooms, toilet and bathroom. That bedroom one is 15 square meters. That's quite a big size. You could potentially put a kitchen in there if you can sort the plumbing out. Create a kitchen, lounger, diner type area. The bathroom, as you said, I would tend to agree with you. I think the more modern style and modern day preference, I think, tends to be the toilet and the bathroom and the sink and the bath all in one room. You could potentially find a way of getting a 2-bed flat on that, with that sort of square footage without it being too cramped, but certainly a 1-bed. And so similarly, you could look at the first floor as well and look at that and say, well, can you do the same there? Maybe. But if you could get 2, let's just say 2 1-bed flats refurbished, looking really nice, I think they would easily value at 100,000 each. And then, if it was a 2-bed flat, you'd probably be looking at more like 110 to 120. So you could potentially refurbish this on a sort of 30K-ish, I'm just picking a number roughly out of the air here, budget. And as I say, I think it's probably more lending itself to that idea if it's a freeholder. So it's just a side thought, really. But it's always something to bear in mind for where you see this sort of scenario where it is in such bad condition that you can literally just knock walls down and move things around
again.
You want. You're not going to, you're not paying for a kitchen when you buy this property. So let's move on to the next one and have a look at 45 Fellows Road in Peterborough. So this one's an auction property.
There's
not an awful lot of information. I always like how you can see the person in the reflection of windows taking a photo. If you look closely on these things, it always makes me smile. You can see a person there in the middle taking the photograph. So this is a 3-bed end of terrace, and there's not an awful lot to go on, right? So when you look at this property, You've got just 3 photographs, and they're all of the outside.
Yeah.
So there's not an awful lot really that is of interest. In all honesty, it's in a reasonable area of Peterborough for letting demand. And I think, Andrew, we spoke before, and there wasn't an awful lot to say about it, but I thought there was a couple of things that are interesting to me, apart from the fact that it's in an auction, and so who knows what it's actually going to sell for. £110,000 guide price, could go for the reserve, would typically be 10% above the guide price, so you might expect it to be a reserve of maybe in and around 120,000. No idea what the condition of the property is like inside, so no idea how much a refurb budget would set you back. And also, when you look at the details here, there are no viewing opportunities. But a couple of things just to bear in mind. So the front of the property looks fairly sound, but what I sort of noticed immediately when I saw it was this massive space to the side of the property. And I immediately just thought, well, who owns that? And I would be surprised if the property comes with any of that land down the side.
I suppose the best way to see that without this information on here would be through the title plan.
Absolutely right.
Purchasing that and then getting a little bit, because obviously you can't necessarily see as much, or the legal pack that will be on the auctioneer's website.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can do is, I mean, because if this did come with this land, or any, and this is any end of terrace property, for example, then yeah, you've got the potential there to get maybe planning permission, title split, sell a bit of land. It's almost like a buy one get one free. But you can find that information out, as you say, by looking at the title plan on the land registry website, and it costs £3 to download that document, which is an inexpensive way of finding out. There's a link here to the website and a brochure which you can have a look at. Let's just have a look at what they've got on here. So not a huge amount of information, actually. I
did download the EPC.
You did?
As well.
Great.
Which is given a rating of E, 52. Yeah. So the upper end of E, so not too far off of being a D. But some of the main information in that is saying that solid brick, no installations, rating very poor. Roof, it's got a very poor rating as well. And lighting, that's come back as very good, actually. There is obviously recommendations throughout that, but just I suppose that gives a little bit more of an indication, but not too much.
Yeah, okay, that's really good information. I think the EPC rating of E is something in its on its own that could put a lot of investors off, and therefore can present its own strategy. I think you've got there's always some indications on the EPC certificates as to how the energy performance rating can be improved. As you mentioned there, you've got insulation that could be better. Now, insulation in a loft is not ridiculously expensive. What I like to see is improve the light bulbs and improve the loft insulation. That can take it up a grade from an E to a D, or from a D to a C. Without it being crazy money. So sometimes a poor EPC can present an opportunity if you take the time to download the EPC from the website, and you can get to that by going to the .gov Find Energy Certificate website here. I've got on the screen, and you can click on Start Now, click on what type of properties is for, domestic property, and then if you just put the postcode in as to whatever it may be, then you click Find and the address, and then you can scroll through and download. We'll do a separate session on that, but that's how you can find the EPC certificate, and it can provide really useful information. But you can see this one is for sale in September 2023. I'll be interested to see what this sells for. I own one very nearby that valued for 185,000 not too long ago. So there's potential margin in this. And it really does depend on what the condition of the property is like inside. If this is a 5,000, 10,000 pound refurb, then there's definitely margin in it. If it's a major overhaul, then maybe less so, but one to consider, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. Next. So a property on Vergette Street in Peterborough with a guide price of £150,000. Let's have a look at the description. Guide price of £150,000 to £160,000. No chain, city centre location. It's a very brief description, gives you some room sizes. I never trust the room sizes. I don't think you do either, Andrew. When I view these things, I take that. No. Always have a measure of the rooms, whether it be a tape measure or something more sophisticated, especially the bedrooms, to make sure that they're a minimum room size. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I made some notes when I was looking at this prior to the call. So yeah, I mean, the general parts of it, I think it looks okay in some rooms. For example, that room there where it's pretty much white throughout, so maybe just a touch up of a redecoration there. But some of the, like, for example, the doors, I've replaced those for nice white panelled doors. I think that would really uplift that room.
Yeah.
I have put on here around essentially a redecoration throughout, new kitchen and bathrooms. You may, I mean, looking at that photo, I feel like you could potentially get away with some of the tiling there, but I think actually when you go and view it, I think it will be in a worse condition than maybe what is perceived in that photo. New kitchen and bathroom, new carpets and flooring throughout. And I have mentioned that also EPC is early D, so there is some work to get that up to the proposed C that needs to be in place by 2028. So yeah, I mean, general cleanup throughout, some of the out the front, the guttering, there wasn't really much work there, just a general cleanup. But inside, a fairly basic renovation, I would say, mainly the kitchen and the bathroom being the bigger jobs.
Yeah, agreed. I've not viewed this property, but I agree with you. I highly suspect that when you view this kitchen and bathroom, you could end up looking at it thinking this needs replacing.
Yeah.
The photos don't look fantastic, do they? Let's look at the floor plan. I think this is a good example to take a look at, because I think there are houses on streets like this up and down the country, and this is fairly typical of maybe the sort of classic Victorian terrace layout, particularly upstairs. It's almost a 2 up, 2 down type scenario. So what's quite unusual in a way is that someone has already put in this corridor upstairs to run down to get access to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I've seen all sorts of layouts of this. Sometimes you go straight off the landing upstairs into the second bedroom, where there's a bathroom here in this property, and sometimes that door goes straight into the second bedroom, and it's effectively an ensuite.
Yeah.
Which might be okay. If it's a family with a young child, where the child maybe is in the other bedroom, that might be okay. What I also see sometimes is the bathroom, it's not even a bathroom or an ensuite, it's a bedroom. And these houses are advertised as being 3-bed houses. So you've got a third bedroom that's coming off the second bedroom. Which
I've seen that actually.
You've seen that as well.
Ramsey. Yeah.
I don't think it's really what people ideally look for, in all honesty, in a house. Again, maybe if you've got a very young child, it's fine. They could take the third bedroom coming off the second bedroom, and that can work. I think wherever you've got this sort of layout, you can always look at it and think, okay, how can the design and layout of this be improved. Downstairs, you've got all the plumbing at the back end of the house. Clearly, you've got a separate toilet here, and they've stuck a lean-to on, I suppose, to sort of claim part of this grey area here with this lean-to to bring it into the house. So there's a kitchen, there's a lean-to walkout area, and then you've got the toilets. Maybe that would have been an old outhouse toilet at some point in time, but it now sort of feels like it's more part of the house. But I think what's interesting is you see a lot of houses like this where what they've done is the kitchen, you can move the kitchen into the dining room and create a kitchen diner. Expand this area here completely, maybe even knock that wall through, create a bathroom downstairs.
Yeah.
And then upstairs, this bathroom can be taken out and a third bedroom created.
Yeah.
So then you go from having a 2-bed house to a 3-bed house, and that's going to add some value.
Would that bathroom be big enough for a bedroom though? Or are you talking more of like a small office, small child's bedroom?
The bed, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've got to make sure that, I think it's 4.5 square meters. It needs to be at least that. I'm assuming at this point that it will be, that it is.
Okay.
If it's not, then it's probably not a good idea. I think if you've got the 3-bed house, even with a bathroom downstairs rather than upstairs, which not everybody likes. I've got some with bathrooms downstairs. They rent perfectly fine, but it's an option and worth considering. Again, if the bathroom's in good condition, you might not necessarily want to take out a really nice bathroom just to then spend a bit of money putting in a new one downstairs. By the time you come back to where you started, you probably spent the same amount of money as what you've added to the property. It doesn't make any sense. But as you said earlier, the bathroom doesn't look great, does it, on this one? And probably needs replacing anyway. So why not replace it downstairs? And the kitchen doesn't look great and probably needs replacing anyway. So why not replace that? Oh, let's just go to that for a moment. Why not replace that and put it in the dining room? So I think it's an option worth considering, and it is worth considering on a few. Yeah, anything else to add to that one, Andrew?
I don't think so. I think the comments you've made are very good and an interesting idea as well to consider for people that come across this type of property.
Let's move on and have a look at this one. This one's in Huntingdon, and one that you identify. Why don't you talk us through this one? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's one I'm actually going to view later today. So it's in Huntingdon. It's in an area close to town, which will rent well. It is a mid-terrace 3-bedroom property that does also come with a garage round the back. It is in need of renovation. The current owner owns a number of investment properties and is looking to sell them off as part of his retirement. So this is one that was previously on the market for 210. The estate agent has encouraged them to reduce the value down to 200 to open up more opportunities for people looking for a property in and around the 200k marker. Looking at sort of comparables, I would suggest resale value once renovated around 230, 240 in the current market.
Okay.
Looking at the floor plan, there isn't too much I would change in terms of the layout. I feel like it's a nice layout that flows quite well. You could maybe say that you could take the kitchen dining room and put it into a bigger, larger kitchen diner. But in terms of the main layout, you've got 3 good sized bedrooms, a bathroom which is all in one. You've not got 2 separate rooms like we've seen earlier. And it's a good space overall. I think it's very much a refresh inside. Needs a bit of TLC, redecoration, new kitchen, new bathroom. And once that's renovated, I think it will rent well, and it'll also could sell well if you decide to do it as a flip opportunity.
Are you thinking of this one for a potential flip?
Potentially, yeah. I think that's probably more the way I would be going for this particular one. I feel like because I can do a lot of the work myself, I'll be able to keep the renovation costs low. So should be able to make a good profit to then move that on to another property where I will look to rent that out.
Right. Okay. What sort of rental do you think you'd get on this one?
Looking at some of the comparables in the area, because it's that little bit closer to town, and it's a 3-bed property, I would expect the rental to be in and around £1,150 to £1,200 per month. If you're being a little bit more conservative, then maybe 1,100 to 1,200 per calendar month. There is a couple on the market already, very nicely done up, and there's actually a 2-bed terraced, and that's on at 1,150. So that's even within that range, but I think that hasn't letted yet, so I feel like that should come down slightly. And this being a 3-bed, I feel like that sort of region would rent well.
Right. And in the event that you decide, for example, rather than a flip as an exit, a buy and hold and refinance a strategy instead, maybe as a plan B with those sorts of rental values, do you think this would work as a buy to let?
I believe so, yeah. I need to obviously view the property tonight, run the figures in terms of once I've actually seen the property and understood how much work it will take and how much the cost that will be. It will obviously allow me to determine how much money in I will have with the project. But in terms of the return on the annual rental, I believe it will work because I will be looking to self-manage it as well, so I haven't got those additional costs to factor in.
Sure. Okay, let's have a look at one more. So this is on Poplar Close in Huntingdon, one that you're interested in and have identified. Talk us through it.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is another area not too far away from where the previous one we just looked at. Poplar Close is again fairly close to town. It has a good rental area as well. Similar sort of rental figures around 1,100, 1,200. This is a 3-bed semi-detached. The previous one was a mid-terrace. It is in need of full renovation. I have viewed this one a couple of times. There is quite a lot of work to be done within the property. New kitchen, new bathroom. The bathroom actually is separate when you look at the floor plan to the toilet, so we'll be looking to bring it into one room. There is a little bit of work to do on. I just will check some of the leaks that previously took place within the property, which I believe was done when the boiler was put in. But overall, it's a good space. It will rent well. The example you mentioned around measuring the room. On this one, it's a slightly like an L shape in this bedroom that you've just got on screen. So it was one that I took my tape measure and I just made sure that those measurements were correct. And yeah, overall, it's a good size property. Once it's renovated, I believe it will rent really, really well. You're probably looking at end value 240 to 245 in terms of revaluation, remortgage. I've got a friend that has one around the corner as well, and is looking to achieve the same once he's renovated his. So, good opportunity, this one, if you can get it for the right price.
Yeah, and I think I viewed this one with you, right?
Yes.
I think it's a really good find and a great potential investment. And so it's on your watch list right now. And you're going to continue to track this, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Right. Well, that's everything we've got time for in this session. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope this video has been insightful. Please do like and subscribe and leave comments. Thank you very much for watching.